She blamed me for her sister's baby, but it was just to hide her affair. When I showed the truth, her lies caused everyone to turn against her. My wife and I were married for a little more than 4 years. It began okay. We both had good jobs and bought a first home in a nice area. Things normal couples do. About 6 months ago, we talked about having babies. We had talked before, but this time was more serious. "I think we should try to have a baby," I said one night at dinner. It was not a strange idea. It just seemed like the right thing to do next. The look on her face was like I said we should steal money from a bank. "Are you sure you are ready for that kind of big job?" she asked, in a strange voice I never heard before. "Yes, we are both 32, have enough money, and have room. Why would I not be ready?" Then things became strange. She started telling me small things about me that she said made me seem like a bad dad. I leave plates in the sink, sometimes I play games on weekends, I don't always take out the trash without being told. "These are just things normal people do," I said. "What is the real problem?" She got upset. "I just think being a parent needs a certain amount of grown-up behavior that maybe we have not reached yet. Not you, but both of us." The way she looked at me showed who she thought was not grown up enough. We stopped talking, but something was different. I began to see things. She would make small comments when her friends with babies would say bad things about their husbands. "See, that is what I worry about with Jason." Or she would suddenly talk about her single friend Mina's great freedom to go places, meet men, and learn about herself. Then the big surprise came on a Tuesday night. We were watching a silly show on Netflix when she stopped it and looked at me. "I think we should try living in different places for 10 days. I just looked at her. "What did you say?" "Not like ending our marriage," she said fast, "more like a test time apart to think clearly." "Think about what exactly?" She played with the remote control. "About us. About if we are really ready for the next step. About if we should really be parents together." I sat there thinking about this crazy idea. She was not just asking if I would be a good dad anymore. She was asking if our whole relationship was good. "Let me understand this," I said slowly. "You want a 10-day break from being married to decide if I am good enough to be the dad of your babies." "Don't say it like that," she said angrily. "It is not about being good enough. It is about being sure before we make a forever choice. My friend Jen did this with her husband before they had babies." "Your friend Jen is not married anymore," I said. "Why would you take advice about love from someone whose marriage failed?" She seemed mad that I said bad things about her close friend Jen. "That is not the point. The point is I need time away to be sure this is what I want. Being connected to someone forever with a baby is a very big promise." "And marriage was not?" She had the nerve to move her eyes in a circle. "Marriage is different. People end marriages all the time. A baby is forever." I sat there looking at the table for a moment. Then I just said, "No way. Why would I say yes to this crazy idea?" She opened her eyes wide, clearly not ready for that answer. "What?" "No way," I said again. "I will not do some silly test time apart so you can decide if I would be a good dad. That is not how being married works." Her face turned red. "Wow, you will not even talk about this. This is the kind of not wanting to hear new ideas I am talking about. Maybe if you read more about new ways people are together and how they change, you would understand." "Are you joking? This is not about being new or changed. This is about respect, simple respect for our marriage." She put her arms across her chest. "I think you are making too big a deal out of this. And I think if you do not want to be with me anymore, just say it. Do not hide behind this test time apart crazy talk." "That is not what this is about," she said, her voice getting louder. "I never said I do not want to be with you. I just need time to think about this big life choice." "The big life choice was 4 years ago when you said I do to marry me. If you're having doubts now, that's your problem." The fight got worse from there. She said I was too controlling and not sure of myself. I said that testing your marriage is not how people act. We went back and forth until she walked away to the other bedroom and closed the door hard. I did not sleep well that night, my mind going fast. Was this really about having babies, or was she trying to find a way out? To be honest, I have no idea what to do. Do you think I'm making too big a deal out of this? I know that having babies is a big choice, but saying we need to live in different places to see if we should be together seems like a very bad sign to me. We've been good for 4 years, not perfect, but okay, and now all at once she is questioning everything because I want to have a family? I do not want to end our marriage over something silly, but I can't stop feeling that something more is happening here.
What would you do if I were me? Is this test time apart thing normal and I'm just being difficult? Or is my feeling right that this is the start of the end? Any help would be good, because right now I have no idea what to do. But I will read about that time apart silly talk just to know what I'm dealing with. Haha. The next morning after our fight, she came down looking sorry. I'm sorry about last night, she said, sitting across from me at the breakfast table. I did not explain myself well. I did not mean to sound like I was questioning us or our marriage. What else could test time apart possibly mean? I asked. She played with the coffee cup. I have been feeling too much stress about the idea of being a mom. My friends make it seem very hard, and their husbands do not seem to help much. She thought she got too scared. I didn't believe her, but I nodded. If you are not ready for babies, just say that and we can wait. But saying we need to live in different places to test our relationship, that is a different thing. She agreed, and we seemed to make a not happy agreement. Problem solved, or so I thought. But over the next few weeks, I saw a change. She began to stay out later at night.
Times with her women friends that happened once a month now happened every week. All at once, she had many things to do. Hair, nails, buying things, morning meals with friends. Every time I said we should do something together, she had things to do. I realized one day when I was sitting alone eating food from a restaurant for the third night that week, she was doing the separate lives thing anyway. Not for real, not with the name she wanted to use, but in real life she was moving away, making space between us, seeing what life was like when I was not there. So I decided on an easy way to act, say nothing at all about it, and quietly make my plan to leave. If she wanted to test our marriage, okay, let us see what happens. I'm not the kind of man who makes a big show. I never have been. So instead of talking to my wife about her slowly going away, I just watched and made plans. Monday, yoga with the women friends. Do not wait for me. Tuesday, dinner with Jen to talk about her divorce. We'll be home late. Wednesday, haircut after work. Then dinner with people from work. Thursday, buying a birthday gift for Mina. Then we are having dinner. Friday, drinks with work people. Might sleep at Jensen's house if it gets late. Our time together on weekends became less. She would sleep late, then hurry off to morning meals, buying trips or things she suddenly had to do. When she was home, she was always looking at her phone, smiling at messages, leaving the room to talk on the phone. Clear signs of someone who is leaving a relationship in their mind. But instead of asking why, because I knew it would start another fight, I just let it happen. I wanted to see how far she would go. While she was busy learning about herself or whatever she was doing, I began carefully getting ready for what would happen. I had to deal with money first, so I opened a new bank account just for me and started putting half the money I earned there. Nothing bad. I still gave all my part of the money for things we paid for together, just making sure I had my own money safe. I also quietly talked to a lawyer who helps with divorce. I learned what would happen, what papers to get, and how to keep myself safe during the whole thing. If she is acting this way without actually asking for divorce, Rick, the lawyer, said, write down the time she is not home. Keep the messages where she says she cannot do plans or says she will be out late. It shows the story of her leaving the marriage. So that is what I did. I began writing down every night she did not come home, every plan she said no to, every family thing she did not go to. I saved pictures of her social media posts that showed her out having fun while I was home by myself. At the same time, I acted completely normal, did not start fights, did not say she was doing bad things. When she was home, I was nice, but not close. When she was gone, I worked on making my new life. I looked for apartments I could pay for, began putting important papers on my computer and keeping them safe, and made a list of what things I really cared about. I slowly began moving things that had feelings and important papers to a small storage room I paid for. The strange thing was, she did not seem to see any of this. She was so busy with her own trip of learning about herself or whatever she was doing that she did not notice that I was carefully leaving our marriage. About a month into this strange in-between time, her sister Rachel called me for no reason. Hey Jason, just saying hi. I haven't seen you two in a long time. Is everything okay? I was not sure how much to tell Rachel, so I kept it easy. I told her Kaya was very busy lately with work and friends, and we almost never saw each other now. Rachel was quiet for a moment, then said that Kaya had been acting strange at family things, too. Always not paying attention, looking at her phone all the time. Even their mom was starting to worry. I thanked her and said Kaya and I would work things out. After hanging up the phone,
I wondered if Rachel had any idea how much her sister had left our marriage. Probably not. Kai was always good at pretending for other people,
acting like the happy wife while living a completely different life when no one was looking. 2 days later, I came home and found Kay actually there for once making dinner. This was so strange that I stopped in the door, thinking if I had gone into the wrong house. "Hey," she said happily, "I thought we could have a nice meal together. It has been a long time." I put my keys down, watching her carefully. "What is the special day?" "No special day. I just missed you." She came over and tried to kiss me, but I moved a little, so she kissed my cheek instead. She looked unhappy. "Is everything okay?" "Fine. Just surprised to see you here. It has been a long time." She was nice enough to look a little ashamed. "I know. I have been busy lately. Work has been crazy, and with Jen going through her divorce, she has needed a lot of help." I nodded, not saying anything about the clear lies. She had not been busy. She had been carefully staying away from me in our home. "Anyway," she said too happily, "I thought we could talk about the baby thing again. I have been thinking, and maybe I have been too slow if it is important to you." And there it was. She had gone out, tried being free, and was now being careful, coming back to her safe choice, the backup plan. "Actually," I said, "I have been thinking too. I am not sure this is the right time for us to have a baby." Her face showed surprise, then feeling better. "Really? What made you change your mind?" "Just looking at our lives lately. The things that are important to us seem very different right now." She looked happy. "Yes, exactly. That is what I have been trying to say. We both need time away to grow by ourselves before we take such a big step." "Time away," I said again. "Interesting word you chose." She did not hear the sharpness in my voice, continuing to mix whatever was on the stove. "Anyway, I'm happy we agree. I was worried you would be sad." I lifted my shoulders. Things change. We ate dinner with fake talk, her filling the quiet with stories about her friends and their problems. I nodded when I should, said nothing about what I had been doing, and left as soon as I could. That night, something became firm inside me. No more waiting. No more hoping things would get better by magic. I finished my plan with cold resolve. 1 more month. That is all I would give this fake marriage. 1 more month of writing things down, getting ready, and watching quietly. Then I would do my plan to leave without feeling bad or waiting. The counting down had started, and I do not think there is a way to go back now. I will tell you what happens next. And the next few weeks after my last news happened in a way you could expect. After that fake getting back together dinner, my wife went right back to her going away act. If anything, she seemed to think my okay with the situation meant she could be away even more. At the same time, I kept working on my plan, meeting with lawyers who help with divorce. I found a very good one. I will call her Melissa. She is an expert in cases like mine. I was making my money safe and writing down the timeline of our getting worse marriage. My 3rd time talking with Melissa was very comforting. She basically said that without babies, this whole divorce thing should be pretty easy. The house would be the biggest problem to deal with, but nothing too bad. I asked if all my writing down of Kay's going away acts would actually mean anything in the law. Melissa gave me the truth. In our state where no one has to be at fault, it would not directly change anything on paper, but showing that she was basically leaving the marriage could help change things during talks. Even judges, with all their law talk, were still normal people who could see someone leaving a relationship. Good to know all my detective work was not for nothing. I kept getting proof. Pictures of her always saying no to plans, photos from her friends' social media showing her out at bars and eating places when she said she was working late, a list of every night she did not come home with times and any reasons she gave. One Friday, she sent a message that she was helping Jen move some chairs and tables and would sleep there because it would be late. Because I was curious, I drove by Jen's apartment around 10 at night. My wife's car was not there. I took pictures to show this and then went home and put it in my proof file. I wasn't even angry anymore, just finished. The woman I had married did not exist anymore. Or maybe she never had. In any case, the empty person that was left was not someone I wanted to make a life with. As the last part of my getting ready, I began moving my important things to a small apartment I had rented on the other side of town. Nothing that would be seen, just slowly moving clothes I almost never wore, books I had already read, and personal things I couldn't stand to lose in a fight-filled divorce. The place had furniture, so I did not need to move any big things yet. My wife, as expected, saw none of this. She was so rarely home that I could have painted the whole house a different color, and she might not have seen it for days. The last straw came when Rachel called me on a Tuesday afternoon asking if Corinne was with me. It seemed they had plans to eat lunch to plan their mom's birthday, but Corinne never came. I told her that Corinne went to work that morning, like always. That is when things got strange. It turned out Corinne had told her mom she had taken the day off just for doing things she needed to do and meeting Rachel. When I said that Rachel thought she had the day off and had told her mom she was doing things she needed to do, there was another look of fear on her face. Then suddenly, new lies about going to the doctor for half the day, getting days mixed up, working from home. The lies just came out of her mouth so smooth and practiced. I have to say, it was almost amazing how good she had gotten at this bad stuff. Working from home, I said again. Not this home, I'm guessing. She stopped moving. What is that supposed to mean? I lifted my shoulders. Just something I see. You are almost never here anymore. I thought you must have another home now. Are you saying I did something bad? Her voice had a sharp sound. Not at all. Just saying what is true. You are away more than you are here. When you are here, you are not close. The only time you showed any interest in getting close again was when you thought I might still want babies. Very clear what is happening. She went into defending herself mode. I have been helping friends through hard times. Jen's divorce has been terrible, and Mina's mom is sick, and work has been very busy. Stop it. I stopped her. I do not even care anymore. Do what you want, be where you want, with whoever you want. I am finished keeping track of where you are. Her face showed anger, feeling bad, everything. You know what? This is exactly why I needed time away in the first place. You are so controlling, so suspicious. I can't even have a life without you questioning me all the time. I actually laughed at that. Controlling? I have not said one word about your always going away for weeks. You have been living the separate lives dream you wanted so much, and now you're mad that I am saying what it is. That is not fair. I never wanted separate lives. No! You had me believing that you did. When was the last time you spent a whole weekend at home? When was the last time you said we should do something together? You've been leaving this marriage for months. She had no good answer for that, just said something with trouble about being busy and people not understanding her. I stood up, suddenly tired of the whole fake show. I'm going to sleep in the other bedroom. Enjoy the big bedroom. It is all yours now. As I walked away, she called to me. Is this it then? You're just giving up on us? I turned back one last time. That is a strange thing for you to say. You gave up on us the minute you suggested that test time apart.
And everything since has just been the slow falling down of something that was already broken. I have been sleeping in the other bedroom every night since then. She has made some not very good attempts at fixing things over the past few weeks, making dinner sometimes, saying we should watch a movie together. I stay nice, but keep away from her. No reason to pretend anymore. At this point, I am just counting the days. Got the apartment ready. Divorce papers are written and ready to give to the court. Proof is all put together and organized. I am just waiting for the right time to start this whole plan. So, 3 months after my wife first suggested our test time apart, I was ready to do what I needed to do. I chose a Thursday on purpose. She always went out with Keo and work people on Thursdays, giving me lots of time to do my plan without stopping. That morning, we walked around each other like ghosts, our normal way. She would not look at me. I kept talking very little. As she took her keys to go to work, I said, like it was nothing, "Going out with the work people tonight?" She looked surprised that I asked. Yes, probably. Why?" "Just wondering if I should wait for you," I said. "No need," she said fast. "Might sleep at Jensen's again if it gets late." "Okay," I answered. "Have fun." The minute her car left the driveway, I started working. First call was to the person who changes locks that I had already checked and planned with. He came within the hour to change every lock in the house. Next came the movers, a small group I had paid to move my remaining important things to my new apartment. I watched as they carefully packed and took my work office things, the rest of my clothes, my personal electronics, and a few pieces of furniture that were clearly mine from before we got married. By noon, the moving truck was leaving, and I went back to the house to do part 2 of my plan. I got all the money papers, our marriage paper, tax papers, anything important, and put them in a safe file box. I would leave copies of anything she might need, but the real ones were coming with me. Finally, I sat at the kitchen table and put in order the 3 envelopes I had made ready. 1. Divorce papers already given to the court that morning. 2. A long letter explaining my choice, the timeline of our getting worse marriage, and suggested ways to split things. 3. A copy of every proof I had collected showing her times away, lies, and general leaving of our relationship. I walked through the house one last time that had been our home for the past 4 years. So many memories, good and bad. I locked the front door behind me, using the key one last time before putting it through the mail opening. Then I drove to my new apartment, ordered a pizza, and waited. The first message came at 6:17 at night. Why are the locks changed? I did not answer. The phone call started a minute later. I let it go to the message machine. The messages went from being confused to angry to scared, not believing, as she found the envelopes and what was in them. Call me back right now. What is this? Divorce papers? Are you serious? You cannot just leave like this. You cannot just file without talking to me. Jason, please, we need to talk about this. This is crazy. Around 8 at night, the doorbell to my new apartment rang. I looked through the small hole, not surprised to see my wife standing there looking messy and very angry. I did not know how she knew where I lived. By the way, she shouted through the door, your car is in the parking area. Open the door, Jason. I did not answer, but she kept sending messages and calling. She stayed outside my door for another hour, going back and forth between angry demands and crying requests. Finally, a person who lived near me must have complained because I heard a security person telling her to leave. After that good silence, the next day I woke up in my new place,
feeling happier than I had in months. My phone showed 27 missed calls and more than 40 messages, which I paid no attention to for now. I had said everything I needed to say in the letters. Around noon, Rachel called, saying that Ka had come to her place around midnight, very upset about the divorce papers and me moving out. I calmly said yes about what I had done, and Rachel seemed surprised by how fast it all happened. I had to stop myself from laughing and explain to her that nothing about it was fast. Her sister had been leaving for months with the test time apart idea, always being away and all the lies. Rachel was completely surprised by the test time apart idea. It seemed Ka never said anything about that to her family. Not surprising. She also did not know about all the lies Ka had been telling everyone. She was quiet, then said she knew something was wrong but did not know how bad things had become. She actually said she was sorry and said, "You deserved better than Ka," which I liked more than I thought I would. My lawyer called later with news that Ka had called the office, predictably upset. When my lawyer explained the terms and said she should get her own lawyer, she became very angry about being surprised and said I was acting badly. My lawyer reminded her that in our state, where no one has to be at fault, none of that mattered in the law, and our suggested way to split things was more than fair. She hung up on him, and I was ready for any fight she might try. I had spent months getting ready while she was busy living her separate life. Now she could have all the time apart she wanted forever. She hired a divorce lawyer, of course, a mean type who said things about me leaving the marriage home and acting badly. My lawyer, Melissa, easily ignored these. Your written timeline of her actions shows a clear pattern of her leaving the marriage in her heart long before you actually left the home, she told me. And the fair way to split things you have suggested gives little reason for claims of bad behavior. The house became the main problem. She wanted to keep it, I wanted to sell it and split the money. Finally, we agreed she could pay me for my half if she could get the money on her own. Because she did not work much, this seemed unlikely, but I was willing to let her try. During this whole thing, I had very little contact with her. All talking happened through lawyers, which made her very upset. She tried coming to my work, my apartment, even my exercise place, always with the same request. We need to talk about this. But I had nothing more to say. The letters I had left had explained everything clearly. How her idea of a test time apart had shown she did not really want to stay in our marriage. How her actions after that had only proved this. How I had reached the point where I did not want to be with someone who had so little respect for me and our relationship. What surprised me most was how our friends reacted. I thought they would either feel sorry for her or just stay out of it completely. Instead, many of them actually contacted me to support me. I had drinks with my friend Mike, who directly said, "Man, we all noticed something was wrong when you kept coming to things alone." She would tell us some lies about you being very busy with work or whatever, but it started to seem completely fake after a while. And Tara, she did not even make it sound nice. Your wife has been acting very suspicious for months, always on her phone, being very secretive, saying no to plans at the last minute. This is exactly how people act when they are cheating, if you ask me. It turned out I was not the only one who had noticed Ka's going away act. Everyone saw it. They were just waiting for me to realize it.
About a month into the divorce process, Rachel called me without warning. "Hey, I know this is strange, but can we meet for coffee? There is something you should know." We met at a coffee place far from where we usually go. Rachel looked nervous. "I'm not sure if this matters anymore, but I found out something about Ka that might explain some things." I lifted my shoulders, not sure if anything could surprise me now, but said, "Go ahead." Rachel took a deep breath. "She has been seeing someone, a man from her yoga class. It started around the time she suggested that test time apart to you." I took in this information with surprising not caring. "You do not seem shocked." "I thought there was someone. The always being away, the lying about where she was, clear signs, right? But honestly, it does not change anything." Rachel nodded. "I talked to her about it. She tried to say it was not true at first, then said it only started after you left her. But I have seen the messages. It has been happening for months. Thanks for telling me, but like I said, it doesn't matter now. The divorce is happening no matter what." As I was leaving, Rachel hugged me in an awkward way. "For what it is worth, I always thought you were too good for her." 2 weeks later, Ka's parents came to my door without telling me. I was not really expecting that, but okay, I let them in. They told me something surprising. Ka was now telling people I had been mean, controlling, and keeping her away from friends. This is what people do when they are desperate and the relationship is over. Her parents did not believe it, though. They directly told me they knew their daughter was lying, that they had taught her better, and they were disappointed in how she was acting about everything. They even offered to speak in court about what kind of person she was and how well I treated her if needed. Very strange when your ex's parents take your side. But it made sense. They'd seen enough of her pattern of lies to know this was just her newest try to not look bad. I had not heard anything from friends about these false statements yet, but I had been staying quiet anyway. I was glad my lawyer had prepared me for exactly this kind of desperate last try to make me look bad. When Ka's lawyer tried to bring up these claims in our next meeting to try to agree, they were quickly ignored because there was no proof at all, and there was a lot of proof showing her pattern of being away and lying. The divorce was finished 5 months after I started it. In the end, she could not get the money for the house, so it was sold and the money was split. We divided our other things fairly, and since we had no children, there was no reason to keep in touch. The last time I saw her was when we signed the papers for the house. She looked thinner, tense, not looking at me. As we were leaving, she tried one last time. This did not have to end like this, you know. I looked at her, really looked at her for the first time in months. The woman I had once loved was hard to recognize under the anger and desperation. "Yes," I said quietly. "It did. The moment you decided to test if you wanted to be connected to me forever, this became sure to happen. It was not a test, it was just..." I walked away while she was explaining for the millionth time what that time apart silly talk was, not looking back. Some parts of life need to end so better parts can start. But the strange thing that happened recently is that about a month after the divorce was finished, I got a message from Rachel. "Can we meet for coffee? Need to talk to you about something important." I was not sure, but said yes. Rachel had been good during this whole problem, and I was curious what she wanted to talk about. We met at a small coffee place. Rachel looked nervous, playing with her cup. "Is everything okay?" I asked after we finished the small talk. She took a deep breath. "Not really. I found out something you should know about Ka." I got ready for bad news. "Go ahead." "She has been telling everyone that we have been having a secret love relationship, that this is the real reason you wanted a divorce." I almost choked on my coffee. "What? That is crazy." "I know. I've been saying it is not true."
But she is making people believe it. Her story is that you two were having normal marriage problems. She suggested a short time apart to fix things, and then found out you and I had been meeting secretly behind her back. That is completely not real. We have never been anything but appropriate. Rachel looked very unhappy. "I know that, but she has half our family believing it." I breathed out deep. Why am I not surprised? When she cannot control the story, she makes up a new one. "There is something else," Rachel said, looking even more uncomfortable. I'm going to have a baby." I blinked, understanding this surprising news. "Oh, well, congratulations. I did not know you were seeing someone." "I am not," she said. "It was just one night with a man I met at a bar. I was upset after everything with Kay and made some bad choices. Hey, women with babies but no husband do great all the time. You will be okay." She gave a small smile. "Thanks, but that is not why I'm telling you this. Kay is sure the baby is yours. She says we must have been together right when the time apart started, and that is why you wanted a divorce so fast. I looked at her completely shocked. Are you joking? I wish I was. She is telling everyone who will listen that we are having a baby together, but that is completely not true. Rachel nodded. I know. I have told her that many times. She will not listen. She is stuck on this idea that we both hurt her together. I sat back trying to understand this new level of craziness. So, what do we do? Rachel bit her lip. I hate to ask this, but would you be willing to take a father test? Just to make her stop talking? I know it is not yours, but it is the only way to prove it to everyone. I thought about this. On one hand, it was silly to have to prove I had not made a baby with my ex-wife's sister. On the other hand, making everything clear might be worth it. Okay, I said finally, if it helps end this problem, I will do it. My life took a strange turn when my ex-wife, Kay, started making up many lies that almost ruined everything. It all started when Rachel, Kay's sister, asked me to meet for coffee, looking nervous as she played with her cup. She told me something surprising. Kay was telling everyone we had been having a secret love relationship, saying it was the real reason I wanted a divorce. I almost choked on my coffee. The idea was crazy. We had never been anything but appropriate. But Kay had made half their family believe I had hurt her. Then came the big surprise. Rachel was going to have a baby, and Kay was telling a wild story that the baby was mine, saying we had been together right when Kay suggested a test time apart. I was shocked. Rachel said the baby was from one night with a man she met at a bar, a bad choice made after Kay's problems. She asked if I would take a father test to make Kay stop talking, and even though it felt silly to prove I had not made a baby with my ex-wife's sister, I said yes to stop the craziness. The test results came back, and as expected, I was 0% the father. I sent copies to Kay, her parents, and our closest friends with a simple message: hope this ends the lies for good. What happened next was fast. Kay had been acting like the hurt person, saying our supposed secret relationship ruined her. But with the proof out, the people who supported her fell away. Her parents were very ashamed, and friends who had believed her felt tricked. Her dad called to say he was sorry, saying they had taught her better. I told him it was not his fault. A week later, a special letter came from a place that helps with mental health 2 states away. Kay was getting help, saying she knew she had caused damage without asking people to forgive her, just letting everyone know she was safe. I sent it to her parents, who felt better. Rachel, at the same time, was doing okay with her pregnancy. The father, a college man she had met again that night at the bar, was surprised but agreed to help with the baby. And that was it. The end of the craziest part of my life. I'm going forward, never looking back. Finally free from Kay's lies and the trouble she made.